This is Kanan Chandran, publisher of StormAsia.com, and this is a discussion right at the end of the year where we will look at the year that's passed and what's coming up in 2021. It's been a year of staying at home, food deliveries, working from home, virtual meetings, job losses, vaccines, burst bubbles. It's been a year when COVID-19 shook things up and brought people, economies, countries, and the planet to an almost reluctant halt. But things are starting to crank up. And just as we think 2020 is on its way out, news of a new twist in the COVID-19 tale means we are still unsure about what 2021 will bring. But we have with us two guests at today's Storm Asia webinar who are keen to share with you tips on how you can power up your wealth in 2021. Now this, mind you, is an unrehearsed chat. They have not shared notes or methodologies or anything of the sort. And they like to do this sort of thing. They've been doing it for many years. As you can see, DAR is already quite happy about all of that. Well, let's have fun, guys, okay? So just remember, you feel free to ask questions. There's a Q&A box there, so by all means, go ahead and ask some questions as this session progresses. Let me introduce you to our two panelists. We have DAR Wong, who has 30 years of experience in global financial markets, involving investment strategies, corporate advisory, structured portfolios, debt financing, fundraising, and mergers and acquisitions. Wow, okay, so it's almost a whole hog and beyond. He is now focusing on expanding the blockchain technology while transforming the asset businesses into the digital economy. So that's a big thing that we are going through. His clients come widely from government, exchanges, financial institutions, and private corporations. And DAR is also an author of a few books and has won numerous awards from different countries. Welcome, DAR. And with us also is Helen Ong, who teaches businessmen, entrepreneurs, and investors on how to accelerate their wealth. She's an expert in Feng Shui and other Chinese metaphysical principles, and she's also a licensed practitioner in biogeometry, which brings harmonization to a higher level to help individuals and organizations succeed and achieve their goals. By applying ancient wisdom to modern living, Helen has earned multiple endorsements from both corporate clients and the media. So Helen, welcome as well. Now, we have agreed, we've tossed a coin. In other words, ladies go first. So Helen, what is your take on 2021? You have 15 minutes.
Thank you, Kanan.
Tell us all about it.
And hello, everyone. It's been a long time now that we cannot meet live and we are meeting virtually. So it's going to be very interesting. And in 2020 is a crazy year for me. And somebody just said to me the other day, I can't wait for 2020 to be over to welcome 2021. So my question is, how do you know 2021 is a better year? So let's look at it and see if 2021 is a better year for everybody. So 2020, we are in the year of the metal rat, and in 2021, we're going to meet the metal ox, which is Xing Chou. Okay, the Chinese character for this year ahead of us is called Xing Chou Nian. Now, the metal ox is going to be a very interesting year because, you know, in Chinese astrology, every about 3 years, you get an earth element coming in. So next year, the year of the ox is an earth element. So we say that is it going to be the same, you know, every ox year? It's never the same because there are the 10 heavenly stands, which we have metal standing on top of this ox this year. So it's going to be a metal ox year. And when we look at metal ox, then we say, so what's in play, right? So the ox is actually the storage for metal elements. So when we look at it, we're going to say this is going to be the whole year filled with very strong metal elements influences. So what does that mean? So when you have metal domineering, the whole aspect of the year, then we're going to look at what can be weakened by metal. So it's very easy to understand this. In the 5 elements study, you have metal that produces water, that attracts water, and then you have water that attracts wood, and then you have wood that produces fire, and fire that produces earth. So common sense tells you that, well, if I'm going to have, metal being a predominant element, then quite likely, what is it going to counter? None other but your wood element, isn't it? So you see, the wood element is the wealth element for the metal-related industry or the metal elements, aspects. Then we say, how about fire and earth? Now we know that the ox is an earth element, but is earth element going to be strong? So we're going to go through all this elemental aspect to look at how the entire industry will be affected. So by and large, when we look at the metal ox here, we would also be looking at the hexagram, through I Ching to see if what does the Gua have to say about the year ahead. So in 2020, when I wrote an article for Canon, I stated that 2020 is going to be the year of adversity. And true enough, this is just a crazy year for a lot of people, whether you are affected in your business sector or not, emotionally, mentally, socially, our life has changed. So adversities is everywhere. Now we're not going to take it for granted. Moving forward, we have a nice hexagram that we can look at. And this hexagram is called Qian Gua, which is influence, when we translate it into English. So what does it mean? In this hexagram, it has got a nice female, we say a feminine element standing on top, which is represented by a lake, right? And the element that is sitting below is a mountain element, which is Geng Gua. So you can visualize this, in a pictorial, scene that you have the lake above and you have a stable mountain below. It's pretty nice. So long and short of the story, they're talking about we're going to see more of this mergers and acquisition. It's like a female and a male trigram coming together. So we're looking at marriages, we're looking at partnership, and a lot of possibility of mergers and acquisitions going on. And also this should be a year of receptivity, right? So if you're still being stubborn about what you think about your business, what you think about your finances, and you refuse to change, then 2021 is going to be really, really tough for those who refuse to change, because it's supposed to be a year of receptivity. So moving forward, when we look at it, we said, well, then what are the industry, right, that is going to do well and not do well? Let's first look at, in Feng Shui, right, we always look at the 9 sectors, the 9 stars. So those of you who are familiar with the flying star concept, you're going to enjoy this, right? The first question in your mind is, so where does the wealth star land, right, in 2021? So by knowing this, not only you can do something about your own environment, you know which are the countries you can invest into. So without further ado, let's look at this part on the Feng Shui aspect. We say that the worst sector, let's start with the worst sector next year, will be up north. So north will be a location you do not want to locate your finances, you do not want to put all your bank statements or all your investment, or you do not want to sit at the north sector to think about whether I should invest in this stocks or I should invest in this elements or not, that kind of thing. When you look at that, you also want to pay attention to the sector that weakens your wealth. So what will be the sector that weakens your wealth next year? Would be the northwest sector. Right, so the northwest sector here, we're looking at countries like Europe, from Canada, by and large Europe, we classify them under northwest. The north, up north, we have, from China, from this direction going upwards, we have Thailand, we have China, we have Russia, right up north. So we're expecting these locations to bring about more sluggish condition or a slowdown condition. Then we also want to look at what would be the country that brings lots of volatility and potential for disasters or changes, right? That will be Southeast Asia. So Southeast sector next year, we have the yellow 5, which is really, really tricky, okay? I was just telling someone this afternoon, if you use it well in Southeast, this location, and you have a great risk appetite, then you're probably going to earn or benefit from the wealth that you make that can fit easily 5 generations. It is that big. But you can also go bust and go bankrupt. Southeast is has got a very notorious star this year. So when we say Southeast, Singapore is affected, right? All the Southeast Asia countries are affected. Then we want to look at which are the locations that's going to bring about a sudden change, right? And cause some knee-jerk reaction. It'll be in the Southwest. So Southwest here, we're looking at Brazil, upward, that location, yeah, that belongs to Southwest. So these are the areas you want to pay extra attention. And right in the middle, we have a star number 6, which will be the Middle East, or country that bears the name of Central. They are likely to have political change, change of leaderships and stuff like that. These are things to take note of. And when you look further, you have the East. Last year, we have the 5 yellow sitting in the East, right? But it did not create too much of a havoc. So coming this year, we have star number 4, which is nice for networking. So East is looking great for networking. So if you have businesses that you plan to network, you plan to kind of get more clients from Japan, from Korea, down in that direction, that will be beneficial and that will be helpful if you are into literature, arts, and that kind of business. So going East will help you. Then let's look at which are the sector that is going to give us the immediate wealth. So next year, we have the wealth star landing in the West, which is interesting. So you look at West will be the US. So we say go West, we go US, right? So what would be the opportunity? There are plenty of opportunity because we just have Joe Biden being elected as the new president. So there are going to be plenty of changes coming ahead in 2021. And also, when we look at the possibility, I mentioned earlier, matter is going to be a very prominent element, right? A very prominent element that we could benefit from. So we're looking at commodities like gold, precious matter, your Bitcoin, your cryptocurrency, so on and so forth. These are the fintech, that you're looking at, the technology you're looking at, anything, that has got to do with precision, anything that has got to be matter related, hardware. So you're going to see all these area technology stocks doing very, very well in time to come. So you may want to consider, if you are investing, these are the areas to look out for, right? And the next sector we're looking at is in the Northeast sector. The Northeast sector, we cover locations like Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Hainan, Hainan Island. Okay, these are the very nearby area where we call them the Northeast sector. And we call them the future wealth. The star number 9 is going to land at Northeast sector, which brings about the future prosperity, which is nice. So if you're a long-term investor and you're looking at the possibility, in the stage of hopefully, a recovery stage that we are looking at in 2021, this thing about vaccinations and vaccines going on is going to create some promises. So I don't rule that part out. That's going to give some very nice rosy background. Personally, I'm not sure if the vaccination is something that we want to go for. So we look at Northeast sector being a very interesting location to look at if you want to plant your seed for your future wealth. And the next location will be down south. South here we refer to Australia, we refer to New Zealand, down south. These are the locations that brings about the future prosperity too, but more so in the sense of bringing you that nobleman. So if you're looking at who do I seek mentorship, or where can I find my nobleman that is going to bring me opportunities, to the area or the location or the business that I wish to venture into. So if you have friends or you have network, you have clientele that's down south, probably these are the people who can give you some inspiration or help you connect, your business with some other industries that you're looking at. So then we look at the different elements that's going to affect us. As I mentioned earlier, we said that matter is going to do very well. Then what about earth? What about property? These are the other concerns that people will be asking most of the time. So being in Singapore, most of the clients are asking this question, can I buy, can I buy, can I buy? Everybody is looking to buy a property. And what do you think with COVID going on? Interestingly, some property sales are doing well. When we look at it, matter being predominant, it's going to drain and weaken the earth element. So when I look at that, I think earth element is not going to do very well next year, particularly in the first half of the year. So if you're looking to sell your property, you're unlikely to make good profit in the first 6 months of 2021. The second half, looking at it from June onwards, there's a possible window between June to September. You can look at that and see if you get some windows in between those timing for a little mini rally for the earth aspect to take place. But on the whole, I still think that the earth industry will be very dampened and weak. The fire industry here, we're looking at entertainment, we're looking at fast consumer goods. So if you're into that kind of products and you're into media and entertainment, advertising, industry that has very fast turnover, fire is going to be very challenged in 2021. So I often say that the equity market belongs to the fire-related industry. So that doesn't mean that, when we say, it's going to be dampened, then the entire equity market, your share market is going to be dampened. Because the equity market is made up of the 5 elements too, with different industry. There'll be industry that will be doing exceptionally well. So we talk about hospitality, we talk about hotel, we talk about services. These are the areas that's going to be weakened. They probably have to up their game. They probably have to think about what they can do to improve the situation in terms of marketing. And we look at the wood industry. The wood industry here we refer to food, we refer to education, we refer to anything that paves the way to growth and development, education, structure. These will be the areas that are doing well because matter control wood. So these are the industry, although being controlled, interestingly, because matter produces water, it gathers water, and water is able to produce wood. So I will still put wood element under the third category. The number 1 is still the matter industry. Come number 2 will be the water-related industry. So what would be the water-related industry? We're looking at communication, we're looking at logistics, we're looking at movement, we're looking at information, consultancy. These are all under water-related industry. So if you fall under this category, congratulations, 2021 is likely to be a great year for you, right? And I think more or less I've covered the 5 elements, and I can hand over the mic to Dana and we'll answer questions later on.
Okay, sure, cool. That wasn't 15 minutes, but thanks for that, Helen. I'm sure there'll be questions plenty shortly, but okay, DAR, over to you now.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I hope all of you can hear me loud and clear. To start off my delivery, I will say, ho, ho, ho. Why? Santa Claus has gone home. Santa DAR is here. Okay, I think Helen has been very serious just now, and I seldom see her so serious. So I've been, listening very hard as well. And the good thing is that I think a lot of my prediction is going to be quite near to what she just mentioned. Okay, tonight, I'm going to take 15 minutes or even shorter. All right, my presentation is straight to the point. I only want to cover 4 points, very important. Okay, 4 points. I hope those people who are watching us now take down the point form, the bullet points, okay? And this may help you go through the rough 2021, all right, which is going to be just 1 week away. Okay, the first point, we all know that US has been suffering from the COVID disruption, all right, and basically the company is in economic deficits. And before this morning, which is yesterday, the American government is still worried about facing a physical cliff. What's a physical cliff? That means tentatively they are going to be running out of budget for the government, okay, as of 31st December, which is only 1 week to go. So physical cliff, that means when there's no more money to run the government, okay, first of all, they can't pay the government servants. Number two, the weekly jobless claims by the Americans will be terminated. People cannot claim their benefits, we call DOE, okay, DOE. And of course, public budgets for work all will be stopped. And ironically, this morning, okay, President Trump suddenly agreed and signed. Okay, this we call the coronavirus relief package, is about $2 trillion US, which means the American government and the people will be sailing through 2020 to 2021 nicely and safely, and money will still be printed and safe. Okay, that's point number one. So I want all of you to take note of this. So when we mentioned about more US dollar be printed, okay, what is going to happen? Okay, this is my point number two. Going into January, all right, we are looking at dollar may weaken, okay, and whenever dollar weaken, we are going to see a rise in US stocks market, and perhaps also in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Okay, so this, we talk about short term first, then we talk about long term. But under this point number two, I want all of you to take note. This is my personal prediction, which I want to put a disclaimer. All right. The handing over of power from Trump to Biden will fall on the 20th of January. Okay. A lot of people have been asking me, can this handling of power be smooth and nice and steady? Personally, I put a disclaimer, I doubt so. Okay. Which means I foresee there could be some unforeseen risk, but I'm not going to talk about what is the risk or try to create an alarm here. Okay, let's see whether if I'm correct. In the first 20 days of January, 1st to the 20th, okay, personally, I foresee there could be some very big risk of disruption in US. Okay, I'm not going to talk about what is that, but assuming if this risk doesn't emerge and nothing happened, I will only be happy and say that, well, everybody is safe and we are crossing nicely from January on into the 20th and the handing of power. But assuming if what I predict on the disruption is correct, what is going to happen is, okay, there could be a very sharp recovery of US dollar. Okay, and with that trend, okay, there could be a very sharp fall of gold prices, which is going to do the last bottoming before it start to run up again into February or March. Okay, so this is going to be a very quick correction of gold prices, which might happen in January, but it may not happen, but it might happen in January. So this is my point number two. I'm talking about Trump may actually disrupt the handling of power over to Biden. Okay, this is point number two. And now I'm coming to point number three. Okay, everybody assumes that Biden is going to be the new president. Okay, I do agree. As I mentioned, there could be some risk of disruption. I'm going to put a disclaimer here again. Whoever going to be the new president, I'm not going to put a name. Okay, after the 20th of January, regardless whether Trump retains his seat, because he's still calling what you call that, a cheat in the election. Okay, and he's still trying to overturn the whole results. Or maybe if Biden takes over the White House, whoever becomes the new president, what is the next immediate thing that the new president is going to do is immediately within a month, which is going to move, we are going to move into February, the US new president is going to roll out a new series of stimulus, which formerly under the Obama time, we call it the quantitative easing. Okay. The reason why whoever new president needs to do that is because they need to print more money in order to supplement the government's budget, in order to help the financial market to support them, and in order to make the hot money emerge in the market. Okay, this is a need, because if not, the whole US will go into recession. So this is where I'm coming to point number 3. So whoever the new president, once they take over the White House, this person, I foresee in the year of 2021, there will be at least 2 stimulus, at least 2, okay? Where we don't consider the one that was announced this morning by Trump. In the year 2022, there could be 2 or even 3. So whenever we see that a new stimulus being rolled out in the market, dollar will definitely devalue. So if you look back onto the US dollar index chart, now I'm talking about a more macro fundamentals. When you look back US dollars from 1970 until now, year 2020, okay, this is a 50-year chart. What we could see, the dollar move is actually a cycle of oscillation. We call this the boom-bust cycle. It is a cycle every 10 to 15 years. It may not be exactly 10 years. Okay, sometimes it could be 8 years. So this big cycle or boom-bust cycle is now coming to a recession that we call a bust cycle. Okay, this cycle was seen during 2008 to 2012. All right, over 4 years. And this cycle is coming back now, that dollar will definitely devalue, okay, from next year onwards. And when this bust cycle begins, okay, and the dollar devalues, what we are going to see is a new era of commodity will rise. Okay, we call the new era of commodity. The commodity golden times is going to come back, okay, starting from gold prices that I mentioned, gold prices, silver prices, and all the food commodity, farm commodities, okay, definitely will start to rise. And they are all coming back. In fact, we have seen gold prices hitting a historical high sometime on the late August. Only silver have not gone back to the last high in 2011. But everything is coming back. If you look at soybean prices, if you look at all the food prices, pork, everything is rising. Coffee, you know, and cocoa or even rubber prices. What I foresee that is not going to rise among all the commodities is crude oil. So don't put too heavy crude oil in your portfolio in 2021, because we are talking about a new wave of clean energy is emerging over the world, okay, from east to west, every country. Okay, clean energy, that means they come from the wind, the solar energy, and the hydro energy, or we call renewable energy. The next thing is the emergence of electric vehicles, we call EV, okay, under the 5G technology, using satellite connectivity. All this will make crude oil become less wanted commodity. So other than crude oil, you put aside X, we call X crude oil. The rest of the commodity is going to have a golden bull run starting from next year. All right. So my point number 3, I'll cover on that. Now my last point, point number 4. In 2021, what are we going to look at and what are we going to focus? Okay, first of all, when my prediction, not if, is when my prediction comes through, dollar falls in 2021. Most likely, when will this heavy fall of dollar emerge in the market? I strongly believe it's going to be on the second semester, okay, which is after June. Why? Because even we're going to have the first stimulus being rolled out in the first semester, I think the impact on the stock market, on the US, the whole economy is very minimal. But on the second semester, if another second stimulus or even the third stimulus is being pushed out in the market, that will actually make dollar fall so rapidly. And when that happens, gold prices is going to form a new historical high. Okay, silver prices will easily go back up to 35 or 40 US dollars per ounce. Okay, so this is my point number 4. Please mark down this number. Personally, of course, before that, I give a disclaimer. It's only my own prediction. But I've been predicting in the market for the last 31 years, since 1989. And most of the time, I think my prediction is quite close. I foresee that the spot gold prices will reach 2,400 US dollars per ounce in the year 2021. And that will happen in the second semester when we see a deep fall in the dollar. So which means, okay, in 2021, still under 0.4, when dollar falls, what are we going to focus on? Number 1 is gold prices. Number 2 is silver. Number 3 will be all the farm commodities. But there's one thing I want all of you not to miss it out, which is the crypto assets, okay? Regardless you know about crypto assets or you still don't know about crypto assets or you're still thinking, what is this thing about, okay? Crypto assets, yes, they are digital currency, they are virtual, they got no benchmark, people say they are scam. But the fact is that if you participate, if you hold any cryptos, okay, the market cap of Bitcoin now is about 500 billion US dollars. You can easily buy and sell in the market, which means you are holding a virtual crypto asset, but yes, they're going to pay you money if you're on the right trend. This is going to be in 2021. Very unbelievable. And besides, people ask me what are the cryptos that you can be investing. Of course, don't look at all those small cap cryptos. Look at all those big market cap. Number one, we start from Bitcoin. Number two is Ethereum. Okay, and the third one is probably Ripple. These three are the main focus. Okay, so I'm coming to last part of this delivery within 15 minutes. Okay, if you are looking at Bitcoin versus gold ratio, that means Bitcoin price divided by gold. Okay, the Bitcoin prices now is about $28,000. This today it went to 28, now it's 27,500. Gold price is about 1,850 US dollars. So if we actually put a ratio on Bitcoin over gold, the ratio is now about 15. That means every one Bitcoin can buy 15 ounces of gold. This is very unbelievable. You know, there is something in the world today, it is virtual, it has nothing, no benchmark, and yet it is worth 15 times more than gold. Okay, so it becomes like so unbelievable. One Bitcoin can buy 15 ounces of gold. So the ratio is 15. But personally, I foresee by end of next year, okay, by end of next year, 2021, sometime in the last quarter, we are going to see this ratio expanding to 25. Okay, what is the price? You go and calculate. But that means that one Bitcoin is going to be enable you to buy 25 ounces of gold. That means the expansion of Bitcoin prices is going to excel the rise of gold prices, although both will rise concurrently. So when these two instruments, one is a physical gold, one is a non-physical Bitcoin, that rise together, okay, what is going to happen on the opposite side of them is the counterbalance of US dollar, which I mentioned earlier, is going to fall rapidly. Okay, this is a counterbalance of the economy. And what is going to happen to Dow Jones and the US stocks? Okay, first half of the year, I think they are quite okay, but after May, they may have some what I call knee-jerk movements. But second half of next year, definitely I don't look good at the US stocks or even the European stocks, because whether it's Euro or it's American stocks, we call the Euro M market, they have actually sunken into very high sovereign debt, the deficit of printing too much money to support this coronavirus. Okay, so the whole saga of 2008, 2009 with sovereign debt crisis, they are going to come back. This is my personal prediction. All right. So my 4 points have all been delivered. Okay. I just quickly run through again. Number one is US facing the recession physical cliff. Okay. And Trump has signed the $2 trillion US dollars relief. And point number two is in January, just about 1 week from now, there could be a disruption of risk in US dollars that may actually pull up the US dollar very quickly. And that's where gold will come down. But this is going to be the last bottom. Okay, so it's a good time to pick gold and silver. Then number three is, okay, whoever new president comes in the year 2021, personally, I foresee at least 2 or 3 stimulus will be rolled out in the market from US, and that will affect the whole world's economy, because when dollar drops, that is when the golden era of the commodity bull run will start to run. So what are you going to focus, which is now point number 4, gold, silver, Bitcoin, crypto assets, okay, all the metal mining stocks, okay, or the ETF on metal minings, okay, farm, food prices are going to raise very rapidly. In fact, we have seen soybean, cocoa, coffee, all these prices coming up. So what's going to happen next year? Okay, there will be an inflation in Asia. But will people be getting richer to afford the more expensive food? I doubt so. Okay, so a lot of hidden risks that we couldn't foresee. But I predict, okay, that it will emerge on the second semester of next year. All right, that's the end.
Okay, thanks. Thanks,
Okay.
DAR. Thanks, Helen.
Welcome. You're welcome, Kanan.
Thank you for your personal perspectives on these issues. We have some questions that have already come in, so please keep sending them in. But I thought I'd just bring this discussion a bit further into our realm in terms of what's happening in this region.
Okay.
You talked a bit about inflation and food prices going up. How do you think the common man, the layperson, is going to be able to handle 2021?
Okay, this is a very tough question. Okay, to put it very simple, if anybody who runs a business, okay, or have been working in an employment role and want to get rich next year, I think it is very difficult, my honest opinion. In fact, you should pray hard that you don't get retrenched. Okay, but the formula of getting rich or getting some extra wealth is to have some money where you put into good investment. Okay, and I believe a lot of people will not say that DAR Wong is bullshitting now, because okay, this year May I did a YouTube video and I loaded up in my YouTube channel. It's called DW Channel 2020. Okay, you go and search. I mentioned that Bitcoin is going to rise on the last quarter of this year. And I gave a prediction what is going to happen to gold prices and moving into 2021. In fact, now they are all in my prediction run. All right. So which means next year, how can a normal man in the street manage the increasing cost of living, getting difficulty, inflation, but in a recession? So it's an inflation recession that get together, that mingle together. This is a term we call stagflation in economics. Okay. So anyone should have some good investment. When I say good investment, that means you don't anyhow invest, throw money into things that you don't understand and you start to lose money, or don't invest money into a friend's hand that a lot of people always say, my friend tell me it's good, so I just give them money and they say they're going to do something for me. And it's always the money is like, you go to the sea and you don't hear anything, or you can't even see a ripple. So don't do all these things, okay? If you do not know what to do, the best secure investment is go and buy gold. Okay, and one of the way is go to SGX, because I am promoting SGX, of course. There is an ETF called the gold ETF. Just go there and buy some gold, because this inflation, when gold drives up, is going to cover you from some potential cost of living rise. So that's where you can get a profit back. Next year is definitely in Hokkien, we call the gold will fly until ping ping piang piang one. Trust me on that. Okay. Yes.
Helen, what's your counter to that? You've been hit by a few gold bullets.
Okay, Da, you ping ping piang piang. This is so
Ping ping piang piang, because Helen also agreed. Master Helen earlier mentioned about next year is the year of matter. Matter is the first element, right? It's going to boom down. So that actually coincides with when I said mining and gold. Okay, of course the rest of the commodity all are going up, but the one that spearhead will still be gold.
Yes, I agree with that. Like I say, it's going to be the whole year of gold and whole year of matter. I mean, of course, coming to that, then we also have to look at, besides thinking about money, like what Da say, you count your blessings that you still have your job, and not be retrenched. Or the more important part is you're not sick, right? Your health is so important. I think your health is your wealth. Coming from the Feng Shui perspective, I would think that you should pay extra attention to your health aspect, especially in 2021 when matter elements is so strong. It's likely going to affect your lungs, your respiratory, okay? And these are the areas that you should pay extra attention and invest into your health. So investing into your health care in order for you to have, clearer mindset or with mental clarity and a more stable emotion before you park your investment, I think is essential. So, whether today you have done your fundamentals, you have done your homework or not, I think what is really, really essential here is you remember what Da had told you. Even if you remember what I've said, in all the different sectors or all the different aspects, governed by Feng Shui and the flying stars and all that. How do you take advantage of all this information so that you live well? I think that part, you need to cover it first, so that you are safe enough to keep your job and keep your health before you start investing. Yeah.
You talk about respiratory issues. I mean, COVID does affect your lungs. Well, it also affects many other parts of your system.
Yes.
But how about the pharmaceutical stocks? I mean, the vaccines are coming through, some of them. Are they good to consider as investment opportunities for those that are able to?
Investing into pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical, we consider pharmaceutical under healthcare. They are under the earth element. Earth element is a little bit tricky next year. We're talking about you're going to find challenges. You're going to see challenges in aspect that has got to do with integrity. We say earth has got to be stable. If the earth element is not stable, it's just like when you found a piece of land, and that piece of land you can't even plant anything, because the idea of earth is to nurture wood element, is for you to be able to grow something. But if you found a gold mine, then you say, oh, then I'm going to strike it rich. But let's say you're a farmer, you want to plant something, and you found a gold mine. You can't plant anything because that piece of land is not suitable for planting. So what's going to happen is when you have metal element being so strong, it is going to drain, it is going to weaken the earth element. So bonds, earth related, pharmaceutical, I'm not sure. Like I mentioned earlier about this vaccine thing, we all know that it takes many, many years before a vaccine can be proven, tested and proven that it is effective and good. But this vaccine that we're looking at right now, it's only a few months, so personally I'm not sure about this part. It didn't give me a good feeling. So pharmaceutical side, if we put this news aside, most people, they welcome the idea of the vaccine. They welcome the idea that we have an excuse now. If all of us are vaccinated, we can go traveling and the economy is going to come back. Seriously? Is it really going to be so simple? I don't know.
Yes, DAR. Yes.
I have something to add. Yeah, I have something to add because I'm very polite. That's why I raised my hand. Okay, after Helen speaks, I speak. Okay, personally, but that's my personal view. I do not invest in pharmaceutical company in 2021. Okay, let me state my point. But of course, this is very argumentative. Some people may not want to accept it. Okay, let's assume, not to mention any company's name because it's not correct. Let's assume company ABC, okay, invented a vaccine, all right, and rolled out to the market. And most of the investors may think, oh, wow, this company is going to make money and they have a new vaccine. But the fact is it true? Okay, why I said that? Because currently a few vaccines, again, I'm not going to mention names, have been pushed out of the market. I think basically only 2 or 3 names only like in the world, all right, from German, from US, from China, But the thing is, don't we feel that the speed that they formulate this vaccine and push out in the market to get approval and to start selling is very hasty, okay? And also the percentage of positive result from the trial, okay, the effectiveness, okay, I am upset to say it is not 100% or 99%. So you are getting results like maybe 70%, 80%, or even 92%. It's not 100. So what does that mean? Okay, let's assume I will want to hypothesize a situation. Today, ABC company, okay, got a new vaccine rolled out in the market, okay, and 100,000 patients use that. So everybody start to buy the share. But what will happen out of this 100,000? We have 200 people, only 0.2%. After taking the vaccine, died. What is going to happen to the company? You think about it. I am not being negative. I'm just stating fact. Because until now, okay, in my understanding and comprehension, there is no vaccine in the market now under approval, okay, that they can sell, but no vaccine can prove it's 100% positive. No one. I am dead sure on that. Okay, so when a medicine is not 100% effective, who can guarantee that the company's share prices is going to fly and pharmaceutical is going to be, a big one-way uptrend? No, it's going to be very versatile, a lot of volatility, or maybe it's going to have a roller coaster. So to me, okay, if you ask me if today I have a single dollar, what can I bet on? Pharmaceutical or gold mine? Let me tell you this. I say go and buy the gold mine company. Don't waste your time looking at pharmaceutical. Gold mine is going to be the winner in 2021. Okay.
I suppose also pharmaceuticals are a bit transient.
Yes.
Right? It depends on what the issues are and things will come up
Yes.
and it's a
Yeah.
spike and then it goes down again.
I mean, that unless you want to buy on news, having said so, if
yeah,
you want to buy on news, congratulations, you
short
get
term.
a short term,
Yes.
Short term, yeah.
you punt. But
Mm.
but if let's say you're not the person who can watch the market and you can't run on time, then seriously, please don't take this kind of risk.
Yes, don't
I
take risk.
rather you look into the wood element, the wood industry, you look into education, you look into, companies that are, conducting all these structures, systems, infrastructure development. This is what I mentioned earlier, the third category that you can be looking at, or commodities like grains, food, and stuff like that.
And Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin.
And on that note, I think there's a question here which Sheng Lam has asked. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum are now at record highs, but Ripple has declined to about 2 times its recent highs. Are there specific reasons for this phenomenon?
Oh, because what happened was about a week ago, there was a news that the US SEC, the Securities Commission, okay, they are talking about they want to file a lawsuit against Ripple, okay, for not following certain order. So with that news release in the market, Ripple price dropped. But I think in the long term, yes, it is still good to pick Ripple at the bottom, because at the end of the day, the market cap is still huge. Okay, so whether the lawsuit is successful or things is going to happen, or is it just going to be a rumor, or is it going to be a reality, no one knows yet. So over the short term, yes, we do see a correction on Ripple, but I think I'm not going to advise anyone, but for me myself, I think because I keep Ripple and I don't have too much worries on that. On myself. Okay.
Okay. This question about whether Bitcoin will shoot to 100K and what are the other coins to buy?
Bitcoin, Ethereum. As I mentioned, go by the rankings of the top 5 market cap cryptos. Okay, we have if I remember correctly, okay, we had the Bitcoin, Ethereum, we have the Ripple, we have the Bitcoin Cash. Okay, and one more, the 5th one is I can't remember, but you can go and find them. Okay, I think anybody got interest, they should do their own due diligence and do some homework on that.
I suppose that's general good practice, right?
Yes.
Any views on the China, the renminbi, and could the Hong Kong stocks be shining in the future?
Okay, I think Hong Kong stocks, basically they are still strong and healthy, because at the end of the day, when they abolish the one country two system policy, a lot of people are thinking that the money are leaving Hong Kong. Yes, that's true as well. But the fact is that the Chinese government is pumping a lot of money to support the market. So I don't see there's a big risk in Hong Kong now. Okay, I don't know over next 2 to 3 years, but at least I think 2021, Hong Kong market is just going to follow the rest of the world. When everybody comes up, they will come up. Everybody goes down, they just go down. But there won't be big risk in it. So it's just on a very normal behavior. All right. Then the question asking about China launching their digital currency is called DCEP. Okay, it stands for Digital Currency Electronic Payment, DCEP. Okay, Chinese government has actually launched in, if I'm not wrong, it's 3 or 4 cities as a trial now. And of course, they're going to slowly cover the whole country. And eventually, they're going to use this DCEP to implement into all the Belt and Road Initiatives countries, which is about 70 countries. It's going to be a long-term plan. It's going to be a long shot. This thing, yes, it has started domestically within China, but my take is it's not going to overturn the whole world in 3 years' time, or it's not going to really go out there and change everything. It's a very long-term plan. Trust that Chinese government has got very wise and intelligent leaders, and they have very long-term policy, because China and India are just like, we could say, 5,000 years or beyond, the kind of culture. So whatever plan they have is not going to just plan for 5 or 10 years, But if you ask me, is it good or no good? I think it is very difficult to judge. Of course, if you're looking at the uniformity of trade practice, I think using one single digital currency will be good. At least they will not be controlled by the US SWIFT system, because we all know that SWIFT is controlled by US. When they don't like you, they sanction you. They don't like you, they put you out of the system. Then you cannot be sending money, you cannot do trade. So by China, by introducing DSAP and urging the rest of the 60 over to 70 countries to use it eventually, probably over 1 or 2 decades, I think they have got more plans behind it, okay, to consolidate their own BRI, Belt and Road Initiative system, than many things that we couldn't see now. So I think I won't go too deep into that, because we are Singaporeans after all.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a question here for Helen about regarding period 9 that is coming. Which industries are going to be the shining stars? What are the industries that can go well in the next 20 years?
Okay, nice question. Okay, actually, all of us should be preparing ourselves for period 9. The period 9 is governed by the fire element by Li Gua. So we are looking at industries that has got to do with fire. For example, your AI also fall under this category, and anything that has got to do with fast changing creativity, has got to do with media, has got to do with the robotic, has got to do with stability, structure. It's going to have a great shift in that sense. So we're going to see more on that futuristic, all the futuristic stuff coming up, in the movement of fire. And also you're going to see a lot of visual related, this visual art or visual related industry that will do well. So personally, I feel if you look at the AI in particular, you look at data, you look at all this industry segment, or anything that has got to do with handwork, personalization, it's going to do very well. So don't wait till you enter into period 9, you'll be too late. Actually, if you are an entrepreneur, you should be focused in this area now, like, start polishing your knife and get yourself ready for period 9. Yeah.
That sounds ominous, polishing your knife for period 9.
Polish your knife.
Wow.
Okay. I was just wondering, you were talking about AI as a possible thing to look at the futuristic industries, but that also opens up the threat of issues like cybersecurity and all the issues around 5G and what might come out of it, even the wars between countries around who has dominance over these technologies. Is that going to hamper the growth of the population or the growth of the economies, or is that going to be sorted out somehow, and there will be some standard that will prevail? What do you reckon?
For every change of one period to another period, you're going to actually not see change overnight. In fact, things are already changing now. As you watch how things are moving forward, we are already getting all that into our life right now. It's just that we don't pay attention to it because the change is not that huge at this point in time. But if you look at 2020, you look at what had happened to us this year, it was already a huge change. In the past, DAR Wong and I will be giving talk live, in SGX and engaging with the audience, face to face. And whether you like it or not now, we can only do it through webinar and Zoom. So what is Zoom and what is webinar? They're fire related. So we're already using it.
Okay. Da, any thoughts on that?
Well, I think we should be focusing on transformation of the new world economy. But during the transformation, we have to admit that a lot of traditional business will be disrupted. So disruption versus transformation, both are actually sitting on the opposite side of the seesaw, So during transformation, yes, we do see a lot of risks. We do see a lot of businesses getting out of the industries. But we can't deny that a lot of new opportunities will be coming in as well. So it's like when we lose something, we get another thing. But it's just that most of the time I realize people refuse to change, or people refuse to accept new things or to transform or even to pick up to learn. That's why they are being deserted by the new world. So in order to keep up with the new world, just like 50 years ago, probably nobody would believe that one day we're going to hold a handphone and talk, wireless on the street and anywhere that we want it to be. But today, the fact is that we are already doing that, from a TV CRT tube now to become not even a flat screen is really those super smart TV. So a lot of things will be changing very rapidly, especially when we are going to see the introduction of 5G technology coming in, starting from now. So when we talk about 5G, we are talking about satellite connectivity, definitely. And that will actually encompass a very multifaceted industries, starting from logistic, freight, transport, going into military intelligence, then going into telecommunications, then going into home, smart cities, smart home, smart country. Just as Singapore, our government is targeting to change Singapore into a smart city, before a certain year like 2030 or 2035. And I think there is a need to change. If you don't change, people will think that you are lao hamku, it's like, lao hamku like dinosaur, you can't change. But the thing is, when you don't change, everybody beside you, they are changing. So we have no choice. Change. Along the way, as we change, yes, we face risks, we face things being obsolete, but we have to go through that. So I encourage everyone, don't be abandoned by the change of new economy. Continue to learn, keep up with the things, and make yourself always be on the front line. That's where you can actually make money, and observe more opportunity coming. Forget about disruption. These are the things that we don't want. We want the new economy.
Okay. There's a question on, would you like to hazard a guess as to when COVID-19 will be resolved?
I will let Helen answer first.
Hey. Well, I wish for COVID-19 to be resolved like now, but it's not going to happen that way, okay? Because next year, if we look at 2021, like I mentioned, 2021 is going to be a very tricky year. It's going to be a year of transformation. I'm going to actually see more, unfortunately, the virus is not going to just stop the way it is. As we are speaking right now, the virus has already changed and it has got, a different strand altogether, and it's getting more complicating. So 2021 is going to be a very complicating year. I don't foresee that the virus, will recede and disappear in 2021. If we look at, then you should be asking the next question is, which are the countries that are likely to be less affected? Which are the countries that has better control, and that's where their economy is going to do better. And which are the countries that continue to be stubborn and they didn't know how to contain the virus? It's going to go crazy. So I don't think it's going to disappear so quickly for the next 1 year.
So don't make any travel plans. Huh?
Yeah.
I want to answer this question.
Yes.
Before I answer, you must look at what I'm doing now. I must meditate and start to, use my celestial wisdom to answer this. Okay, of course, that's a joke. Okay.
Some
I think I have
people won't consider that a joke, but yeah, okay, go on.
Okay, I think I have to say something. Last year, after the lockdown in Singapore, April to June, I also did some webinars.
This year.
I also wrote, this year. Yeah, I'm moving to 2021 already. I'm living ahead. Yeah,
it'll
this
come
year.
soon enough. Yeah.
Yes, I did predicted that the second wave, the resurgence of coronavirus, which is going to be mutated, is going to be end of this year. Okay, and it's going to be very havoc in Euro-M regions. That means Europe and America. Okay, all this I predicted already with fact one, not because now I start to, be say my whole power back end cannon is not. I did predicted that. Okay, and what we are going through now is exactly the second wave that is now causing a huge impact, especially in UK, and it's going to spread to the rest of the Europe. Okay, and we are just 1 week away to 2021. So which means, okay, on the first semester of 2021, we are going to see the COVID coming back. Okay. And I want to say this, I hate to say this, of course, some people will scold me. Okay. This year we have COVID-19 that started from last year, right? Okay. I would not like to hear one day or very soon we're going to have a COVID-21. But high chance is there could be one such name coming up because this new strain of coronavirus, this virus has actually mutated and become a new species. Okay, and it could be COVID-21. It's no more COVID-19 really. All right, and how long will it last? This virus is more stubborn and more difficult to eradicate. So whatever vaccine we have now is only effective for the first generation of virus. And we are now probably moving to not even second, third generation. You get what I mean? So I'm not a scientist, of course. A lot of things I cannot explain in biomedical science. But trust me, most likely I foresee there could be a resurgence of this damn thing coming back. It's going to be more serious, okay? Especially in the Western region. Okay, so if you ask me when will this go away, I cannot exactly tell, even though in my meditation, haha. But I do foresee that at least for the first semester of 2021, the first 6 months, I don't think we still can travel, which I hope I want to. I don't think traveling can be that easy. I don't think there'll be a lot of improvement in our daily lives that is related to the impact of COVID. So a lot of things will be status quo. So for those people whose businesses or your living has been affected by COVID, don't be too positive and think probably in 2021 things will be getting better, because you have to go through the worst time, which is the first semester, before things could turn better in the second half of the year. But when COVID goes away and become more mild, okay, being mitigated in second half of the year, when people feel that no, they are more free to travel or to start to move. But that's when I will predict now, putting a disclaimer again, that the sovereign crisis may start to erupt from there, because too many countries has been printing too much money, especially the Western countries, to support this impact. And a lot of back-end whiplash, I will call it the whiplash effect, will come. So which is what Master Helen mentioned again earlier, that 2021 is a year of complication. Is worse than a relationship. Very complicated. It's not being married, not being divorced, not being separated, not being homosexual, not being heterosexual. So what is that? I don't know. So just
in limbo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my point. Okay, now I'm very serious already. So I want to advise everybody: just be very cautious. Okay, but do not miss out the big opportunity in such a crisis. Because in every crisis there is an opportunity. Don't let it go to waste, which I mentioned earlier.
Okay, so just as a wrap up, since we are already to the hour mark, could each of you give us one opportunity and one challenge to watch out for in 2021? DAR, let's start with you.
Okay, one opportunity. Definitely I would go for crypto assets. Okay, Bitcoin or Ethereum. Okay, and what's the other one? One challenge. Okay, I would think stock market is very volatile. There could be something that look very good and you dump in all your money, but that could drain you off in the second half of next year. Okay, I will not mention which stock, but a lot of stocks now, they are looking very good, but beware of that. Okay, because there are too many uncertainty in businesses that involve in high tech business. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I pass it to Helen.
Yeah. For me, I think that the opportunity lies in how you could actually balance your environment. I still think that this is where you should begin. If you live in a space and that you know that which are the locations and which are the sectors that is going to make you safe, at least you don't fall sick. I think this is very essential. So of course, as I mentioned earlier, you look for all the positive stars next year. And the location you absolutely should avoid will be southeast. And a good location you should be thinking of sleeping or using it to do your planning or your work or resting can be northeast, can be west, and even south. So these are the three good ones. They are your opportunities for you to do well in 2021. And what can be the challenges and the threat is you accidentally go put your business files and your bank statements in a southeast location, or in the southwest, or in the northwest, or you discuss your ideas in this location, then you're in for a very challenging year.
So that applies to your home space as well, right?
We're talking about home space. We're talking about wherever
your
you are.
compass
It can be
ready.
your office, it can be your home.
Get your compass ready.
Yeah, we're talking about location, where you sit, right? It's not about where you face, but where you are. So it's good to map it out, because you just do it once and for all, and then you kind of like, this is like a no, right? Put a cross in those areas.
I suppose
no
if
place.
anybody needs help, they can go look for you, right? You'll
that's
guide
right.
them.
You can always come
Right?
to me
Okay.
for an audit. Yes.
And if you want, you can always go to DAR for investment advice. Okay, thank you, DAR and
you.
Helen. I think
Thank you.
2021 is going to be a bit more of the same as 2020. Some things are not going to change so drastically. We just have to get used to the way things are going. But I think for those of us who've managed to come through 2020 in a quite comfortable fashion, learned a lot about ourselves, learned a lot about our relationship, learned about how we can pivot or change or modify the way we operate so that we can be in sync with what's needed. We should do more of that in 2021, right? And of course, the advice from the two masters of their crafts have been given out and delivered, so make full use of that. We hope to have some charts to go along with the article, which will be on the stormasia.com site in a day or so. So you can always check back on that and see what you might have missed out when you went to grab a coffee or whatever. But thanks again to DAR and Helen, and to all of you for your questions. There were many questions, so if you know how to get in touch with DAR and Helen, you can shoot them the emails and maybe they might give you specific responses.
Facebook.
Or Facebook, okay, right.
Yes.
Facebook, or LinkedIn
Facebook.
if you have that as well. So thank you, have a great year end and a wonderful 2021. No matter what comes our way, make the most of it.